So, Wren finally replied to me. God damn it. Yeah, I'm gonna read some of this. Hi. Apologies for the delay. I was out of cell range starting Friday of last week for a brief vacation. So, I don't know what anybody else's experience with this is, but in my experience, this is like the number one go-to bullshit explanation for a delay ever from people who are probably laundering money or some shit like that. Like, the money that you make isn't appropriate for what you do. They're always on vacation. You can't talk to them because they're unavailable. Also, cell phone range. It's a fucking email. Why do you need cell phone service? You don't need cell service to get an email. Also, like, you don't owe me a response anyway. Like, there's that. You don't actually owe me a response, right? You're your own ass person. You're your own organization. You do what you do. You don't owe me shit, right? There's that. But what do you need cell service for to receive an email? So that's weird. And I don't care that you're on vacation. I don't give a shit. That's not something you need to tell me. So what are you doing here? And there's a little smiley face emoji. Ooh. I've had a chance to watch your video now. I appreciate the enthusiasm and the desire for Wren to really promote high-quality carbon offset projects. That's a key goal of ours, and I think we have some of the best in the business. Okay, so if you have some of the... That's fine. You have some of the best in the business, that's fine. But you're assuming that I assume that the business is legitimate in the first place. If overall I think that the business is bullshit, you being best in the business, you're still bullshit. So you haven't actually said anything. Also, of course you think that. This is your company. This is what you do. Of course you think that. If you didn't think that, what the hell are you doing? So you didn't say anything. And then, yeah, so here's my response to your video. For your first point on Pacific biochar, we are not causing any more forest carbon to be removed. Cal Fire removes this wood from the forest already as part of their job. Well, so then they're a problem, and you should organize with them to stop fucking doing that. They are set up to conserve forests and manage them. Okay, so, but in your thing, you claimed that you remove wood from the forest. So, what? So you're lying on your website? Because you straight up say on the website that you are the ones that remove the wood. And then it says, we do not affect how the forest is managed in any way. Then don't claim that you're removing wood. If it's already being removed, then you're not contributing to that. What the fuck? We just changed how the waste/wood is dealt with by creating biochar instead of burning this fully for power, which is what is currently done. It is not easy to change how Cal Fire manages forests, but you could try and start lobbying them to change. I don't really care that much. That's not... Also, you just implicitly agreed with my basic point. So you're like trying to argue with me, and then at the end of it, you're like, yeah. I recommend you read our project page for Pacific Biochar for more info. Yeah, that project page where you say that you're the ones who remove the wood? That one? I've read that. For basalt weathering. There are a couple of key facts that I think are relevant. 1. Basalt is not necessarily worked into the soil. It is only worked into the soil if the area is already meant to be tilled. While it would be great to move all farming to no-till, the reality is there remain many farms that till, so we shouldn't delay spreading this basalt to convince them not to till, and the solution still works with no-till as far as we can tell. I mean, it'll produce calcium carbonate. I never argued with that. And I don't think you understood what I was talking about with tilling. Um, I'm not opposed to tilling the soil because that can be useful. What I was saying is the soil, a living soil, is producing, the organisms in there is producing so much carbon that it is not interacting with the atmosphere. It is effectively not interacting with the atmosphere at all until you till it. And then it does, and then it releases some carbon into the atmosphere, like significantly more than it normally does. So that's not a response to what I said. Two, the enhanced weathering does not just keep soil carbon sequestered. Well, yeah, when you just put it on top of the soil, of course it's not going to pull soil carbon. So the thing that you just said, obviously, it actually sequesters completely new carbon. This is how the chemical reaction for mineral weathering works. No? I also recommend reading through our project page for mineral weathering in Scotland. Yeah, I have read that. And I've read some other shit on how basalt weathering works. And the reason that they put it into the soil is because the soil carbon levels are so high that it accelerates the weathering. It accelerates the production of calcium carbonate. That's why you do that. But that acceleration, it works because it's pulling soil carbon. If it was pulling atmospheric carbon, then it wouldn't be accelerated. Because the problem with the atmosphere is that it's like 400 ppm. In the soil, you can get 4,000 ppm, 40,000 ppm, which means that it can produce calcium carbonate much more quickly. But in that event, it's not pulling atmospheric carbon, it's pulling soil carbon. And if you just spread it on the surface of the soil and have it do that, then it's just pulling atmospheric carbon. And that, in that case, it is not enhanced weathering, and it is, I agree, sequestering completely new carbon from the atmosphere. I agree with you in some parts, but I think you're confused about what the hell you're even talking about here. Scientists are actively studying the effect of more basalt in soil. Ooh. Yeah, I'm aware of this. I'm fully aware of this because this is new ass research. This is like 2 years old. I don't know when this started, but like the oldest shit I can find that's accessible and open is about 2, maybe 3 years old. So this is, I understand this is experimental. This is new. Of course they're still working on this. On your own website you say that it's experimental. I'm aware of this. So far there's no reason to believe that spreading basalt will ruin all soils. I didn't say it'll ruin all soils. Already dead soils it's not going to ruin because they're already ruined. Oh, see how language works? How language works. It shouldn't be spread everywhere. Right. Like in the places you're spreading it. But in some areas it is totally fine. It might even improve the soil's ability to harbor life. Yeah, in really calcium poor soils. Because there what's going to happen is going to be kind of like putting in bone meal or something. You know? Yeah. I understand this. It can be a totally valid soil amendment. That's totally fine. But my point is, if you're trying to do this at a very large scale, do you have a contingency in place? I didn't explicitly say this, so it's fair that you didn't understand this. Do you have a contingency in place to look at the soil and determine, oh, shit, there's already too much calcium in this soil? Or do you just apply it regardless? Because on your mineral weathering in Scotland page, it doesn't specify that you're careful. It just says you're doing it. I hope this helps address some of your concerns with our projects. It really doesn't. Let me know if I can help answer any additional questions. Yeah, I don't think you're literate enough. I don't think you understand how language works well enough to do this. Also, I think you're too much of a narcissist because I was out of cell phone range on vacation. Ooh. Why do you need to be in cell phone range for an email, bro? I don't care that you're on vacation. So that entire introduction there, yeah, full of shit.